Hello and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, don't forget to introduce yourself in the comments. I'm Julie from Julie Davis Flower Workshops and Flower Start, the online flower arranging classes. This video is part 3 in a short series I'm filming on how to arrange delivery box flowers. These flowers arrived a week ago and it's time to give them a refresh and a revamp. I'm actually going to be taking this flower arrangement apart in a live Zoom flower class, so why not come and join me? It's all about having the confidence to take apart your beautiful flowers, go through them, refresh them and do something different with them so you can enjoy them for a few more days.
So here are my flowers. I'm not sure whether you can see them, but they are looking amazing, aren't they? For a week old, and finally the lilies have come out and they're absolutely gorgeous. And they've got a really heady scent. So that was the front. And then if I twist it round, you can see at the back, you know, I was trying to keep it quite flat because it was going to go up against my wall. But I have got some little lilies around the backs. Actually, it looks pretty good back and front, and would look good on a table if I had a big enough house where I could put things on the middle of a table and have it displayed. So it does look good all round. Of course, if it was all round, it probably does need something there. But in terms of looking good from the front, I'm pretty pleased with the way that's turned out. But I feel now it's time to have another revamp. So the flowers are 1 week old. And if you are following along with me with your own flowers, I would say that probably I'm doing every single stage a little bit earlier than I would do normally. Because my delivery box flowers from beginning to end, I reckon if I really, really squeeze every bit out of the flowers at the end, they would last 3 weeks, probably 2.5 weeks comfortably. So possibly I'm doing every stage of my revamp slightly earlier than you would want to. So if you are following along, don't feel just because today I'm going to do something different that you need to do that, because if you're enjoying your flowers as they are, enjoy them. Just when you think, you know, they need a bit of a primp and a preen and the water needs changing in your vase, have a go then. So I'm going to be really brave today, and I'm doing an arrangement that is really, really simple, but it's just a little bit different. And sometimes it's being brave enough to be bold enough to do something that feels a bit counterintuitive. So first thing I'm going to do is to take my flowers out of the water, put my vase to one side, and I'll show you the containers, and that's plural, that I'm going to rearrange my flowers into. So the vases I've used so far, I've used a modern classic, an urn from IKEA, I've used my Wedgwood style urn, and then today I'm going to use some glassware. So as I say, I've made sure the glassware was scrupulously clean, and I filled up with water as well. I've got a vase, a clear vase here, and this is the only vase actually of the collection of glassware I'm using that is actually a vase, and I went to a shop to buy it. So it's a matter of using what you've got at home. So this is a Kilner jar, a very old Kilner jar. And when it comes to the other jars, I haven't got a clue where these came from. They were probably gifts, you know, friends have been clearing out their cellars, a charity shop. That's quite a nice shape, but I don't know what would have come in that originally. So I'm conscious that that is a display of glassware against a pale background, so you can't see entirely what I'm going to do. But today's plan is to deconstruct the flower arrangement. We spent a lot of time arranging the flowers as an overall entity in the vase to make them really attractive. And now has come the stage where actually to see the flowers, because those lilies were getting all so busy, I want to pull them out of the vase arrangement and have them standing on their own as almost like specimen pieces. I could then dot these vases all the way around my house, or, and as I will be doing, is to group them together as a collection. So actually, although the flowers are getting shorter and the flower heads are getting less because I'm pulling them off as they die, the lilies are, you know, creating a volume, and I can create this sort of volume and this feeling of opulence and abundance by putting my flowers in a greater number of vases. So I've got 6 vases here, and I know I've got 5 different types of flower. And it's a matter of, the easiest flower arranging ever is to put a single flower into a single container, and then you start to see it with all that space. So from that original arrangement, which stood up, you know, in my vase here to here, it's quite a good size. I can make something that's wider overall, taking into account each of the vases, plus a bit of the overhang as well for the flowers, so I can create impact, but it's ultimate simplicity as well. So let's go in for impact and come in with those lilies first of all. So I've got my scissors to hand. I recut the stems because it just is good practice to recut the stems every time. And because I'm cutting the stems each time, it may be that I have to take off some of the leaves as well, because as everything gets shorter, you don't want the leaves getting into the water. And with that lovely tall lily there, where it was a problematic before, it was branching out, and I had that good show at the front, but also had the lily heads at the back that I couldn't see. Because I've got it on its own vase, you can see everything. You can tell there, well, probably it's a little bit pale for you, but there's 4 lily flowers there, and I can see all those lily flowers. And actually, to get the stem to stand up, I'm just sort of resting it on one of those heads. So I've got one taller, and this was the slightly shorter lily. Now the only thing to watch out for, I've put my tallest lily in my tallest vase, so the stem can reach right down to the bottom and sort of anchors itself in the vase a little bit. You don't want to put a really top heavy flower into a smaller vase, because you may find that it topples out or just looks a bit unbalanced. Or even if it doesn't topple out, you just get that sensation that it's going to fall out because it's just too big. And if you find that you haven't got a vase that suits, it may be that you might need to sacrifice one of the flower heads in order that it does sit more comfortably. And let's do that. Let's be brave. I'm going to take off that flower head out at the bottom so that I can get the main stem to sit more comfortably in the vase. So recut the stem as well at the bottom and come in. I could have it like that. So at the end, I will photograph this against my my grey wall so you can see what I'm doing. Although I've cut the flower head off, I will save it. And perhaps I even need a smaller vase, perhaps for the notional leftovers. Now I'm cheating. Oh, yes, I have managed to get the flower head in there. It is in water. I thought perhaps it was just dangling for the moment. So you will need to make sure that all your stems are actually in water, but that is the beauty of arranging in glassware. You can see if that water level has been taken up. And today I'm filming on a really, really hot day. Feels like I need a glass of water, and certainly my flowers will be needing water. So you can see straight away I've made, you know, it's not difficult, but I have made a dramatic impact by separating out the flowers. Next, we will go with the gladioli. So again, it'd be nice to keep things long that were already long instead of cutting them down, you know, too short too soon. But that's up to you to decide what you want to do. So what I might do here, I've got my more open heads here, the slightly smaller heads here, and then the buds that are just have got some more to give at the end. So I might think about putting those together so it almost looks like one long stem, a single stem of gladioli, but I've put it together, it's the 3 stems together. Now all of my jars here have got really wide mouths. I don't have any vases that are glassware with tiny mouths. So when I put them in the vase, they're just going to slop to one side. So I'm going to string. You could do this in elastic band. I'm going to tie these together. Good. I'm going to cut those stems down to length, but also so they're the same length. So they sit properly. There's no reason why you can't have your flowers angled out. Actually, that's not going to quite work. I need to pull that one down a bit because it's wobbling around. So as long as it's intentional. So I often talk about, you know, stopping your flowers slopping around in your vase. But what if having them off at an angle was part of your design ethos? And you sometimes see this with tulips or spring flowers, or flowers that have got, you know, a nice simple stem and a really impactful head, like gerberas, for instance. Bundle them together, tie them together, and put them into your vase or container, so they make that dramatic impact. They're off to one side, so you could have a whole collection of long straight stems, but all going in slightly different directions. And because it was intentional, a proper part of the design work, it will look okay. And what you'll do when you set this sort of vase arrangement up at home is decide whether the look looks right for you, and only you will know that. And you're challenging yourself to be something really different. but equally doing something you're comfortable with. So it's always, you know, nice to try something new, but don't feel you've got to try something new. If you're really uncomfortable with it, you end up with something you don't like and it just doesn't suit what you've got at home. I think I'm going to do the same thing with my alliums here. I've got a nice sort of bundle of them in my hand, and then I will recut the stems and then we'll just do that all in one go. So I would then find myself a vase, and perhaps this time I want to go that way. It's in stone. You can adjust, you can change. If you decide that the gladioli are too long, come back in and chop them down. If you think actually you would rather you mingled everything together, go ahead and do a mingle. Is the soft ruscus, which is still looking really, really healthy. So I could go through, you know, and add a bit of green to each of the vases. But for me, I think it's just making it look a tiny bit too traditional, and we're trying to break some rules. So I think I might do here is exactly the same and bundle my green together and perhaps showcase the green on its own and have that as a vase of green. It then starts to pick up. Can you see the dark green here picks up on the green, the natural leaf of the lily. So we've got a small pointed oval on the soft ruscus and a large elongated oval shaped leaf on the lily. So again, they sort of talk to each other, and that's what you're getting in a sense of a pleasing harmony, is making sure that you've got a consistent feature throughout your arrangement. So I've got consistency with my shining glassware. It's not all the same. There's some vintage pieces, but they are primarily straight-sided. I've then got 3 vases with lilies in it, and then the green talks to the green, and then I've got these 2 bundled sections of green as well, a more linear form at taking your eye off. So I won't quite know whether it's right until I set it up, because of course now at the moment I'm seeing it all in reverse image as I'm talking to you. Now with the greenery here, I don't think I need to tie it together. I think it's going to rest quite naturally, but I will hold it up to my vase. Conscious that you can't see particularly clearly there, but I think it is clearer on the edited video that goes out to you. I'm cutting those at the same angle and putting in the side there. So that adds a little bit of a backdrop to the gladiola. They don't seem so lost and on their own, but I might just trim them down a bit. They're still keeping the length, it's still a long flower, but just to get them to nestle down. But, you know, does that look better there? Or should I perhaps come in and, you know, put it in with the lilies over the edge? But is that starting to get a bit too frilly? I've got the lily that's quite busy, the alliums are quite busy with their shaggy little heads. And where does it best go? So we've done this before, haven't we? You know, does it look better with or better without? And now I take it away, you know, does it look better just having it clean and fresh? You'll have to let me know in the comments. Do you prefer it like that, as a real clean and clipped look, or to add it in at the back?
I do hope you enjoyed joining me on my Zoom flower arranging class, and if you have time, come and join me another time. What you didn't see in that video was a question and answer session right at the end, live with all the ladies participating in the group. We decided that the flowers would look best without the gladioli, and to add some of the green ruscus into each of the vases. And here's the finished result. I'd love to know what you think. Do let me know in the comments below. If you'd like to join me in my next Zoom flower class, which takes place Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock, you can contact me via Facebook or Instagram. I'll leave the details in the show notes underneath the video. That's all from me for now, and I'll see you next time.